If my client and I hadn't had the being profile telling us directly what's going on below the surface, we probably would have got there eventually after several conversations, but it's the efficiency and the speed that I want as a coach. I want to help my clients get results faster. I recently got a message from a client, standing so proud and in front of his brand new car, because that's what he was able to do now that he had this new job that we'd helped him find. We went through the process of leaving his current role, going through the interview process, getting a new job, and then the end result is having more financial abundance. So we work on the soft skills, helping people be better communicators, they're more confident, they like themselves more. All of this comes through in the work that they do and has a flow-on effect to the results that they can achieve in their life. I'm Kylie Zeal. I'm a professional certified coach. I've been coaching for well over a decade now. Originally started my journey with a strong interest in psychology, and I still love psychology, but I found myself moving towards coaching when I discovered coaching, because it really is capturing the positive elements of psychology. We help people go from good, because so often people are good enough, but they're not great. And what we do in coaching is help people take that jump from good to great. We help them see how actually good is not really that good when you could be doing so much more with your life. So most often I work with people in professional roles, often with people in leadership roles, and these are people who are not new to being in a professional role and leading people, and they do start to get in their own routines and stuck in their own ways of doing things. And the reason they do that is because, at least on the surface level, it works. So if you think you found a way of being that works, you keep doing it. And as long as you're at least getting good results, it becomes the perfect excuse to keep doing what you've always done. And it becomes easy to ignore things that aren't working, because we're all busy. And we're trying to get from point A to point B, whatever your project is, as fast as we can. And what we do in coaching and with the being profile is take the opportunity to stop and really reflect on what's going on and creating the results that you have with this tool, this being profile, showing us where the gaps are. For me, being profile is about getting results faster. I've been coaching for over a decade, and I know how to ask great questions. I know how to get beneath the surface of what's going on for a person. So it's not that a tool like the being profile is like 100% essential for me to get the results that I get, but I know after 10 years of coaching, it helps me get the results faster. And I'm all about efficiency, not only in my own life, but also for my clients. Why should they come and spend 10 sessions with me when we could get to the heart of the issue within one, maybe 2 sessions, because we have the results right there on a piece of paper based on all of the questions that they've answered. So after 10 years of coaching, if I can find a tool like the being profile that's going to help me get those results that I need fast, to get the insights about my client, to help them in turn get the results that they want in their life faster. So that's one of the big things I say to people who ask me about the being profile. It's all about speed and efficiency, and then ultimately effectiveness. And effectiveness is one of the things that we measure in the profile. So I'm looking for effectiveness all along the process. Effectiveness in getting the insights, effectiveness in creating a plan with my clients, and effectiveness in them getting the results for themselves in who they are being and all of the things that they can create and achieve and build because of the insights that they get about who they are being all throughout the process of the journey that they're taking in life. The one example that I would list as my all-time favorite result from working with the being profile was my own profile. The first time I saw those results, I can't say that I loved them. In fact, I was questioning, And are these really valid? That's not really an accurate picture of me, is it? And I was quite a little bit confronted, but I had a great coach. I know all the people that I've worked with so far who are accredited in working with the Being Profile, they know what they're doing. And I went through my own results with a coach, and I realized that the results were not inaccurate at all. It was a gap that I wasn't seeing. It was an area of my life that was making a massive difference, not in a good way. So when I had these results, this data in front of me showing me how I was being in the world, I was able to ask powerful questions to help me create shift in my own life with the Being Profile. And I think even at the time, I would sometimes start spontaneously laughing because I suddenly had this new way forward in my own life because of this thing that was right there. And look, I've been coaching for over a decade. My self-awareness is good. It's often great, but it's not always there. This is what I learned from the Being Profile, is that even someone who's done as much work as I have on myself and my self-development, I've done a psychology degree, I've worked with hundreds of clients, I've trained hundreds of coaches. Like I should know what I'm doing, but at the same time, I know that there's always more to learn. But finding the tool that's going to help me really hone in on the gaps, like when you've covered so much work in your own life, it's harder to see the gaps. And I find a tool like the Being Profile helps me find the gaps. And I think the best result I ever got was in my own life. And because I feel so passionate about the difference that it made to me in my own life, that's what caused me to say, I want to work more with this Being Profile. I can get the same results with my clients. I can help other coaches use this tool to get results with their clients and for themselves. One of the ways of being that I focused on recently with a client was the fear driver. And this is one of the core ways in which we show up to the world, but we often don't realize it because we're just in our day-to-day. We're not necessarily noticing what's going on below the surface, sometimes until it's too late. I had a client who would go to meetings, and he was running these meetings, and he needed to manage all of the different people within the meeting, but he would show up to the meeting and he would get nervous and he would fumble his words and he wouldn't leave the meeting feeling satisfied because he hadn't portrayed all of the things that he wanted to portray in the meeting. And it was quite obvious when we looked at his profile, and the score that he had on his health score was not as good as it could be. And we could see that's what's getting in the way. That's what's going on below the surface. We're able to use that to inspire us to ask questions like, what's going through your mind in this moment? What are the things, what are the stories you're telling yourself about how you're presenting in that moment, what people are thinking of you, what could go wrong? All of these thoughts are going on below the surface, but it was looking right in closely to that fear score and asking, why would the score be like this? What's going on for you? And through asking the questions, we're able to bring the unconscious to the consciousness level. I love that saying that says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that is exactly what was going on for my client. It felt like fate. He felt like there was no other way of being. It's kind of like he was just born this way and this is how he is. But within a month we had turned that around, and he was turning up to his meetings so much more confident. People were respecting his opinions more, and he was getting the results that he wanted, all because we honed in on this one score and asked, what's going on there? What's causing you to show up to life this way, and who do you need to be to do life differently? I had a client recently come to me looking to escape. She was literally hating her job. She was hating the situation she was in, and she came to me with this desperate need to escape from her situation. So the first thing I got her to do, and it's the first thing that I get all clients to do now without question, is complete the Being Profile, because I want to know what's going on below the surface, what's going on beneath this desire to escape. And that meant I was able to do two things with her. Once she had completed the questionnaire and we had those results, and I was able to interpret those results for her. One, I was able to deliver on the thing that she asked for. We created a plan on how she literally could escape her current situation. She didn't like the job, so we worked out what day will she resign. And we also worked backwards from there, putting in place all of the steps, all of the things she would have to do, all of the conversations that she would need to have to make this move from a job that she felt like she just hated and she needed to escape from. So we delivered on those tangible, logical steps that she would need to take. But what I also did is delivered on the things that she didn't ask for, because she didn't really have the insights on what was going on beneath the surface. And I looked at the profile, interpreted the results, and I could see some gaps in her ways of being that were really what were causing her to feel so dissatisfied and desperate to escape from her situation. And then what we did after 3 months of working through this plan is we discovered that she didn't actually need to leave her job. She ended up staying in her job because she realized that she could be happy regardless of her external circumstances. She realized that she was responsible for the life that she was creating around her. She was responsible for the relationships that she was creating around her. And in the end, she didn't even leave that job, at least not at that point in time. She's since gone on to start a new job in a new country, and that's exciting, but she left at a time that felt right for her, not because she was desperate for an escape. If my client and I hadn't had the being profile telling us directly what's going on below the surface, we probably would have got there eventually after several conversations, but it's the efficiency and the speed that I want as a coach. I want to help my clients get results faster. And one, that happens because we have the number right there. Based on the questions that my client has answered, we can see what's going on with that person in relation to each of their drivers, each of their ways of being. The other thing that the being profile does, which I love, is it shows me how my client is showing up in the real world. So when I say real world, I'm differentiating the world that we create in the safe space of coaching, right? Because after 10 years of coaching, what I do well, and I'm sure any coach who's been coaching this long knows, is that we create a safe space for our clients to be really authentic and brave and responsible within that safe space, right? This is part of our skill as coaches. We create space for our clients to be authentic and real. And it's not surprising that at the end of coaching sessions, I can have clients say to me, I've never told anyone that before. And it always feels like a privilege as the coach to know that someone has shared something with me that they've never shared with anyone before. And it's because of the safe space that we create as coaches for our clients to be responsible and own the ways that they're showing up to the world. Now, the downside of this is they may be responsible and courageous and authentic in this conversation with me, but what are they going to be like when they're not in the safe space anymore? And that's what I use the being profile to show them is, okay, this is how you are now. I hear you've got a plan. I hear what you're going to do, what you intend to do out in the real world. But this profile's show me what's likely going to happen when you're out there and you're under pressure. And they'll probably agree with me and go, yeah, that is how I show up when I'm under pressure. So then what we can do is we can preempt, right? One of the first things that's going to go, for example, is your confidence or your vulnerability or your authenticity or your communication skills. Like the profile tells us what's going to be the first thing to go when you're out in the real world and you're under pressure, which means I can prepare them for that. I can say, okay, let's imagine you're in that stressful situation now. You feel your confidence dropping. What can we do? What can we say? What do we need to put in place so that you don't lose your confidence or your authenticity or your communication skills or whatever it is that they're weak on in the being profile? We can prepare them and preempt what's going to show up when they get out into the real world and under those pressure situations. The being profile accreditation training is 3 days. It is intensive, but it is going to give you everything that you need to deliver effective interpretation sessions with your clients, helping them understand what their being profile results mean and enabling you to go to that deep level with your clients and understand what's going on below the surface. We deliver all this in the training, and any questions that you have along the way, we can answer those individually for you, because we're each on our own journey as coaches. We each have our own understanding of what the being profile means. So in addition to getting the strong foundations and all of the philosophies that go into the being profile, all of the logistical information that you need to know about how to run a profile session, we will tap into also what your own understandings are and questions are about the being profile, making sure that you are fully equipped to go out confidently in the world and call yourself a being profile accredited coach. What I most love about coaching is the positive difference that it makes in people's lives, like real tangible differences. Even though we're working on the soft skills, we end up with real world differences.